Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video on the channel. So currently it is only like 5 o'clock. My sleep schedule has just been absolutely fucked lately, so for this story time I'm gonna have to keep it a little bit more quiet. Anyways, today's video is going to be about the time when I actually smoked weed with one of my teachers in high school, and not just the teacher but the entire class. I woke up late as fuck this morning. I went on YouTube, I was just browsing, and I came across the Luna video that he uploaded about a year ago. And it reminded me of a little story that happened to me that I'm about to tell you guys. If you guys aren't familiar with Luna, I would definitely recommend go checking him out. He is my whole inspiration, what started me to do YouTube. And yeah, go ahead and show him some love if you're not familiar with the channel. But right before we get into the story time, it's still early as fuck in the morning, and I haven't smoked my bowl yet. Okay. Alright, and now that I'm nice and baked, let's get on with the story time, guys. So, this story time takes place back in the year 2019. This was around the time when I was first heavily getting into smoking. If you guys watched my last story time, you would know that because I mentioned that in my last story time, but felt like I should mention it again for this one. This one, just like any other day, starts off pretty normal, I guess. Just wake up and get ready for school. Then I go to school. Nothing was pretty much too out of the ordinary on this day until I get to school. And this is just going to be a little short story time. It's relevant with the actual story time what I'm telling you guys right now, but without this context, I don't think the story time would be as funny. But I remember going into school this one day. When I walked in the class, everything seemed normal. Everyone looked normal. Everything was okay at first. And then I go and sit at my desk, and I grab out one of the computers because the classroom that I was in high school, it wasn't special ed. Okay, we're not going to pull an Xcode here. If any of you guys watch Xcode and you make fun of him for being in special ed, I'm going to clear this up right now. What he's talking about is not a special ed class, actually. That is more so called a pathway or an alternative class, and that is what I was in. A special ed class is more for people with like, I don't want to be harsh, but like more severe mental health issues, I guess. People who need more help actually functioning. What Cody was talking about in his story times, that's just kids who don't want to do the work. That's completely different than special ed, and I just wanted to clear that up right now because that was the same class that I was in, was a pathway class in high school. So there was only one teacher in there, but he gave us a lot extra help compared to what other teachers would do, because what we would do in his class, we would sit down, we would be on the computers, we would be doing our online courses, and we wouldn't even try. At least half of us, probably less than half of us. I definitely was one of the people who never even tried. I would just go through the computer, just click random answers for every online course, and then I would like, yo, teacher, I need a grade check. He would go on his end of the computer, tell me which answers are wrong. I would go back, switch the answers until I just keep asking for more grade checks until I get it right, and then I would just submit it. It's like, that's how easy it was. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to get that cleared up. That turned into a little bit of a longer rant than I intended it for, but yes, just know that classroom is not a special ed class. That is called a pathway class. Now that we have that cleared up, I get to school on this day, and like I said, everything was fine at first. Nothing was out of the ordinary. I go and I sit down, and then I log on to my computer, and I just start doing the course that I was working on at the time. And then when I was ready to ask my teacher for a grade check, I turn around and I see one of the other students, one of the just more free-spirited, wild students who really never answered to no one. He was kind of sitting there next to the teacher, and they're just both looking like they're having the time of their life right now. And I'm just sitting there kind of confused. I was about ready to ask for a grade check, but like, damn, it looks like he's having fun right now, so I'm not gonna say anything. But then it got a little bit weird, and it got weirder and weirder after that because my teacher's behavior was just really strange. I noticed the way how he was acting, his whole body language, the way he was talking. It was just, nothing about it has ever been the same. I don't think I've ever seen him like this in my life. I just kind of sit there and I'm looking at him for a little bit, and it's just like he's moving his fingers really weird, kind of like he keeps his eyes locked on his fingers, and it's like his fingers were just kind of moving everywhere and shit. He's making really random noises, like he definitely was not sober. I could tell this from first glance. I just didn't know what the hell it was that he was on. And so I kind of look at the teacher and I say, yo, your teacher's high right now, just kind of cracking a joke. And then he looks right at me, eyes just wide as fuck. They weren't even bloodshot. From what I remember, they weren't even red. He just looks really surprised right at me. And he just says, no, I'm not. And I was like, okay. Yeah, this motherfucker is definitely high. And I just kind of thought, well, I'm not getting a grade check out of him, so whatever my answers are on this test, I guess that's what my grade is. So I submitted the test, and I literally got a 20%. Yeah, 20% out of 100, that wasn't that good. My education, my vocabulary, none of that stuff is top notch, but thank God I at least got my common sense. I'm grateful I have my common sense. So some of you guys might be sitting here thinking, well, what the hell were all the other students thinking when you called them out on it? Like, what were their reactions? What did they have to say? Nothing, really. It's like, if I'm being dead honest, I think all of them kind of had that sneaky suspicion that he was high the second they first saw him as well. And if I'm being honest, I bet you no one gave a shit because they all got fucking baked before showing up to school that day as well. So it was just a whole case of no one giving a fuck, and I couldn't have been more happier in that situation. Let's go ahead and let's fast forward a little bit into the future. Pretty much throughout the rest of this day, nothing eventful really happened, at least that involves this story time that I'm telling right now. I ended up just going home this day with nothing else really coming out of the day, at least from this story time. Like I said, I just go to bed, wake up the next day, get ready for school, same old daily routine and shit. This time around though, when I go to school, it's a little bit different. I'd completely forgotten about everything what happened the day before, because so much eventful crazy shit just was always happening back in high school, so that just kind of slipped my mind the next day. But this day, coming back to school, I see everything play out exactly how it played out the day before. I just didn't see it, but today I seen everything happen. Because before I go to school this day, I forgot to mention, I did a little something else in my routine. I smoked a little bit extra than what I usually do, so I was a little bit extra blasted when I went into school. And when I went into school, a little bit extra faded, there was no way I was going to be able to focus on any of my schoolwork, despite how easy it was. I described it to you earlier. I was just gone, like Pluto level of gone. That's how high I was. But this time around, I was not going to be able to focus on my work, so I was just kind of gazing around the room, looking at everything what was going on because I'm blasted. I have better things to focus on, which was my high, and observing my surroundings was just a really cool way for me to get more high, I feel, back then. So that's exactly what I was doing. And while just kind of looking around the room, enjoying my high, the same student from yesterday who was sitting next with the teacher, and it just looked like they were having the time of their life. I see everything play out. I see him sitting on his rolly chair. I see him kick his leg back. He flies over next to the teacher's desk, and then he hands him something. And I could only describe it to be what it looked like. He hands him a candy cane, because that's what I thought it was at first, I guess. And then I kind of see him duck underneath his desk, and I thought, okay, that's a little bit shady. Why would he take that candy cane underneath his desk? Only if he had something to hide. The next thing what I see, a fat ass cloud come out from underneath his desk, and the first thing that I think is, that's no candy cane, that's a vape. But then I start to hear him cough, and then I think again, adults don't cough from nicotine, what the fuck? He ain't no elementary school kid, like, those are the only motherfuckers who be coughing off of vapes nowadays. I started to think even more. There's another way you can consume the leafy greens, and that is through a vape form. and then the dots finally clicked together. This was around the time, like I said in the beginning of the video, when I was still fairly new to smoking, so I didn't know all the different variations of ways how you could get blasted, so I didn't put 2 and 2 together at first. The teacher comes back up from underneath his desk, and then I see him say something, but I can't make out what it was, and I just kind of see him pointing around the classroom after when he hit this dab pen that was just handed to him by a student. I honestly just assumed that he told the student, yo, we can't let anyone else in the classroom know that this happened, kind of deal. I thought that's what he was telling him. But next thing that I know, I just kind of turn around and pretend like I didn't see anything. And then that same student comes rolling up to me on his chair, and then he hands me the pen. I just kind of played dumb at first. I was like, why are you smoking that in here? I'm playing it real fucking dumb, and then he says, bro, don't play stupid. I saw you looking at us. And then he just kind of jokingly says, I'll let you hit this if you keep your damn mouth shut. I knew he was joking at the time, but he kind of came off with a serious, sarcastic tone, if you know what I mean. I just kind of laugh, I grab it, I hit it myself, damn well knowing that the teacher's not going to give a fuck, because I just saw him hit the damn cart as well. And then after when he lets me hit the cart, I see him roll up to the next student, hands them the cart. They take a fat rip, rolls up to the next student, they take a fat rip. Needless to say, bro, it was just a really good day. I ditched every other class that I had that day just to stay in that damn classroom all day, because how could you not? Like, tell me, in the comments below, have you guys ever been in a situation where you got faded in class when the teacher is present? I don't think so. I really do not think that you have a cool of a story like that now. Anyways, guys, that will do it for the story time. Not the most eventful, detailed story of mine that I have out there, just a little crazy thing that happened back in high school that I thought was really damn funny, and I wanted to tell the story time on my channel. So if you guys did happen to enjoy, please consider giving it a thumbs up, because it shows that you guys appreciate the content and it makes me more motivated into making it, and I'll see you all for the next video. Peace out.